The AI-generated pornographic images of Taylor Swift circulating on social media highlight not only a growing technology issue, but also the centuries-old practice of misogyny. Swift's career, which was never focused on selling sex, has positioned her as a dominant force in pop culture. Despite that, she has become a subject of discussion due to a set of explicit images featuring her, even though she hasn't posed for any of them. Regardless of how much Taylor Swift tries being perceived for her talent, it seems like the patriarchal society will unavoidably humble her by degrading the artist to a mere sexual object. The explicit images originated on the AI celebrity porn website, apparently it's a thing, called Celeb Jihad on January 15th. They were shared on X, gaining millions of views and sparking debate before the associated accounts were suspended. Among the AI images were some that depicted her posing inappropriately while at a Kansas City Chiefs game, a distasteful nod to her romance with Travis Kelce. Luckily, there is a Preventing Deepfakes of Intimate Images Act, issued back in May 2023 to protect the right to privacy online amid a rise of artificial intelligence and digitally manipulated content. While Swift will probably emerge victorious from a legal battle months from now, is it possible to win a decades-long battle to be seen as more than a sex object? Throughout her long career, Swift tried to be perceived as anything except for sex symbol. While the majority of fellow artists, including Beyoncé, Ariana Grande, and Miley Cyrus, utilized their sexual appeal for commercial gains, it was never included in Taylor Swift's carefully crafted persona. Despite that, her sexuality was and still is brought up to broad discussion. She used 1989 Taylor's version, prologue, to address the speculations about her bisexuality that started circulating a decade ago. After explaining, over the course of 4 paragraphs, her decision to reinvent herself at 24 years old, Swift says she swore off dating to prioritize her female friendships because, if I only hung out with my female friends, people couldn't sensationalize or sexualize that. Right? I would learn later on that people could and people would. By the people, she refers to gaylords, a subset of Swifties that believe that the superstar has been romantically involved with at least one of her female celebrity friends. Despite that, in the 5,000-word piece, written in the Times opinion section, editor Anna Mark strung together a long list of LGBTQ references Swift has weaved into her songs and performances. Mark suggested that Swift had, perhaps for years, been trying to signal that she identifies with the queer community. In isolation, a single dropped hairpin is perhaps meaningless or accidental, but considered together, they're the unfurling of a ballerina bun after a long performance, Marks wrote. Those dropped hairpins began to appear in Ms. Swift's artistry long before queer identity was undeniably marketable to mainstream America. They suggest to queer people that she is one of us. In a conversation with CNN, a source close to Taylor allegedly called the article invasive, untrue, and inappropriate. I genuinely wonder, why as a society do we have the need to imagine any person, famous or not, at their most intimate, in bed with somebody? Why do our colleagues, neighbors, or idols' sexual preferences affect the way we perceive them? Before that was the disgusting reaction to a minor wardrobe malfunction in 2011 on Speak Now tour, when a wind machine that wasn't supposed to be on blew up her dress. The shots of the incident made headlines on various media outlets, comparing it to the famous scene including Marilyn Monroe in 1955's 7-Year Itch. The video depicting the moment has over 500,000 views on YouTube. The internet was so excited to see Swift in an underwear, so what, it was clearly against her will. Swift is not alone. Many prominent women have had to withstand similar mistreatment. According to Jeffrey R. Dudas, professor of political science at the University of Connecticut, this sort of sexualization is unfortunately common as a means of humiliating or otherwise attempting to discipline high-profile women. Consider, for example, how often Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez has been a target of this exact thing, including by Republican members of Congress. When Kamala Harris was vying for her role as vice president in 2020, her mere participation in a debate against then-incumbent Mike Pence saw a spike in people searching Google for her name, alongside such terms as nude, bathing suit, and bikini. One study on 2008 vice presidential candidate Sarah Palin, published in the Journal of Experimental Social Psychology, found that objectifying the former Alaska governor by focusing on her looks made her appear less competent and less fully human in the eyes of 133 participants. It also made volunteers less likely to vote for the John McCain-Palin ticket in the 2008 presidential election. The American Psychological Association defines sexualization as when a person is sexually objectified, which means minimized to be only an object of sexual use, rather than to be seen as a complete person with value outside of a sexual experience. In 2014, 4chan user claimed to have obtained nude photos of 101 female celebrities, including Jennifer Lawrence, Kirsten Dunst, and Kate Upton, by hacking their iCloud accounts. Almost instantly, the photos became the evening's hottest Google search. Jennifer Lawrence nudes seemed to be all anyone could talk or tweet about, reduced to nothing more than their breasts and their genitals. The leak, the interest it invoked, is the ultimate example of a man possessing a woman's body. Against her will, without her permission, and completely without consent, he has accessed photographic evidence of the thing men everywhere want to see. The objects of lust we as a society have elevated above all else, her naked body. The patriarchal society has a difficulty in accepting a woman for simply her professional success. So sexualization of powerful and wealthy women is a weapon used to belittle and shame them, sending the message that politics and business are not places for women and girls. Swift has faced criticism from individuals associating themselves with worlds distant from her musical domain. Some of these individuals, including women, have openly expressed their disapproval by depicting the superstar as less than. It is no accident that AI-generated porn includes her informal affiliation with the NFL. Excessive media coverage of Swift's attendance at the Chiefs games triggers the rage of a particular type of person who envisions football as some sort of bastion of old-fashioned masculinity. The harmless TikTok videos depicting male rage when Taylor Swift is mentioned to put Travis Kelce on a map doesn't seem so funny anymore. But it's not just women in the public eye who have to worry that their private lives will spill onto the internet in ways they did not condone and cannot control. Non-famous women's lives have been derailed because of so-called revenge porn, when an angry ex decided to post their intimate photos online or because their email accounts were hacked. In Women in the Picture, the author, scholar, and art curator Catherine McCormick confronts the inexhaustible matter of women as objects of attention, in Western visual art and elsewhere. In a world shaped by inequality, the enjoyment derived from observing has been divided into active male and passive female roles. The reality is reflected in art. In Renaissance paintings, you will find dead, floating Ophelias, endless sacred Madonnas, naked women of leisure and coquettish nymphs, fetishized and tragic all. Yes, McCormick says women sometimes peer, but they are mostly peered at. In The Story of Griselda, a 15th century triptych whose central focus is a long-haired woman surrounded by a lot of men in tights and animals. In the painting, men talk a lot. The most violent and tragic is Titian's 1562 painting, The Rape of Europa. Its theme, a young woman, a Phoenician princess, is abducted and forcibly impregnated by a god in disguise. Can't help but to make us feel uncomfortable. The entire series of Titian's paintings, featuring themes of gender power dynamics and the portrayal of nude female bodies, prompts questioning about whether any artwork, regardless of its greatness, can be exempt from moral examination. Europa is not the only rape victim. The first painting in the cycle, Dani, tells the story of a young woman, Dani, who's been locked in a high tower by her father to keep her away from predacious men. But the god Jupiter has transformed himself into a shower of sparkling gold dust, and in that form falls on Dani's nude body. The problem I'm trying to highlight is not the misogyny of the Renaissance era, but the fact that despite the visible legislative and political progress, as a society, our perception of women didn't change very much. Taylor Swift, just like Europa, is severely violated and sexualized against her will. Titian produced Europa and Danae in the 16th century for the Spanish king Philip II. In 2024, the AI porn website generated explicit images of arguably the most important woman of modernity for a specific audience. The tragic part is, once leaked in the mainstream part of the internet, the images were met with high interest. The demand to see the pictures was so high, X had to block the search term Taylor Swift. It seems that society still finds it difficult to comprehend the existence of a woman without evaluating her sexuality. The creators may change from Taichin to AI, but substance sadly stays the same.